I'm Christina Marie, this is Christina's Creations. Thank you for coming to my channel. If you're not already, please subscribe, like, share, comment below. So, I'm continuing my DV playlist, which is the videos that we're doing right now. And a most frequent question asked to me is, why did you stay so long? From people who don't understand the whole violence thing. They think that it's easy to just leave, especially when there's children involved. My mindset was, I grew up in a broken home. I was so insecure in my own self. I felt so low, and I didn't want my daughter growing up with the same insecurities. I didn't want her growing up without a father, at least in my mind. Even though he pushed me down the steps when I was pregnant, he fought me a few times pregnant, which is nothing a real father would do. He was never financially stable. We were evicted probably every other month. And over the 6 years we lived together, we were even homeless a couple times. And that's nothing a real father would do. He would show up to my jobs and make me lose them just because he was jealous. And that's nothing a real father would do. Looking back on it, I'm able to pinpoint the difference. But to get to that point of walking away, it's hard. We sit there and we make excuses for our victors. We sit there and we make excuses for their actions, even though we shouldn't, because it's not excusable. Violence is never excusable. If you feel so low towards somebody who is the mother of your child that you forcefully hurt them, that is not a father. That makes you just as low as everybody else who are in prison. Another question that gets asked to me a lot is, there's so much nice, can they change? Well, I mean, it depends on the person. I always think that anybody can change. I see how far I've come my whole life, and I always give that flexibility to other people, which is why I went back to my ex 7 times. Statistically, we go back to our victors at least 7 times before we decide to be gone forever. Now, his ex-girlfriend, who was immediately after me, and they were so in love, she would send me messages exactly the way I would send them to his ex. How could you take his daughter away? I didn't take his daughter away, he left. He tried to kill me and he left. Except I was a whole lot nicer to her than any of their exes were to me. They make you feel powerless. They make you feel completely alone. And in most times you are. I went to the cops I don't know how many times trying to get help. And they completely ignored me. It didn't help that he was an ex-CO. And my ex before that, I didn't call the cops on, but he was ex-Army. So what's it gonna go mean? It's always their word over yours. And everything. I like to think people can change. But I don't set my boundaries low enough to change people. It is not our job to fix them. They have to fix themselves. And regardless how many times they say they're going to kill themselves, how many times they say they're lost without you, it's just to have control over you. In my experience, they're not going to do it. My exes are living happy and healthy. But anybody can change. And in one instance, I used to get jealous that one of my exes seemed to be so much nicer than he ever was to me. He gave her everything that he took away from me. And it made me horrible. It made me so mad that I was just so low and worthless that he could treat me the way he treated me and treat this other woman like a queen. But in the same sense, now that I'm healed and I'm over it, I've forgiven him, so he deserves happiness. I've forgiven him, so I'm glad that he's happy. Change can happen, but it is not your responsibility to change them. It is your responsibility to take care of you and your children. Growing up in a relationship, seeing it from their eyes, my daughter, she would tell me when I would take a picture, I'd ask her to smile, and she'd go, I don't know how. Because I didn't smile. She never saw me smile. She didn't know how to laugh. She didn't know how to have fun. She would just sit there and just act like she had just saw a war. She had PTSD from her childhood, just like I did. And that was what I was trying to avoid. I was trying to help her, and instead I hindered her. And that's what made my decision to completely go. It wasn't easy. We were actually homeless a couple times, and it was a very rocky road, but she laughs more than she ever has. She smiles more than she ever has, and I smile more than I ever have. The first time in my life, we can leave toys out on the floor without having to look over our shoulder whether or not somebody is going to come home and snap. She can be free to be herself without worrying about somebody yelling at me because she's making too much noise. It's freedom that's worth it.